Welcome back to the channel. This time I have a little bit different video to share with you. Back in October, when the nights started to become noticeably longer, I booked a slot for a local touch and go session at Charleroi. The goal of this flight was to gain some experience in flying the DA40 at night while getting my night recency back, as I have not flown at night since I got my night rating last winter on the Sonaca 200. I also wanted to experience the light changes in the cockpit while flying from daylight into the darkness, so I timed my booking to take off around sunset and land a half hour after the end of the civil twilight. I didn't want to record another touch and go session the usual way, so I decided to simply make a time lapse which would show how the day turns into night really well, and it should also have a festive feel with all the lights below. A perfect Christmas video. You will see that as the night sets in, the footage accelerates as the frame-by-frame exposure time grows, and I must note that if you are sensitive to flashing lights or rapid movements, then the second half of the video is maybe not for you. After the landing Wizz Air Airbus, I had to move forward to the display's threshold, likely to make sure that I didn't take off right into their wake turbulence. I remember asking if I should expect left or right hand patterns, and since I was given free choice, I opted for the left hand circuit, as that is better for visibility. While the wind was only 10 knots on the ground, there was quite some wind higher up, around 25 knots and pretty much in the runway axis, so I was not even close to being abeam the passenger terminal when I finished my after takeoff flow. To avoid having a very short and fast downwind because of the expected strong tailwind, I always extended my upwind leg a bit when there was no traffic behind, or flew a diagonal leg between upwind and crosswind. Because of the strong headwind, you can see even on the time-lapse recording how slow I was on final, with a ground speed around 50 knots. The landings were all very nice and smooth this evening. I was pretty satisfied with them. Here I am already at 1300 feet when I make the turn above the passenger terminal. On downwind, I have to start configuring very early to make sure that I am not blown too far too fast by the strong tailwind, and I have time to slow down. Unfortunately, there was quite some arrival traffic, so I had to orbit. Orbiting definitely looks less boring when it's accelerated, that is for sure. Then ATC tried to squeeze me in between two arriving jets, but I was too slow compared to the traffic behind, so I had to go around and vacate the runway axis to the right. I had to take the right-hand circuit this time, because there was also a small aircraft returning to the field from the north with some non-nominal engine behavior, so they got priority here. This was the start of a very long orbiting session, which was actually not so easy due to the strong wind, because I had to often correct for the drift along the runway by flying longer into the headwind. This is why I couldn't maintain a constant, standard rate 1 turn. While there were plenty of ground references around, I was happy to glance at Sky Demon once in a while as it got darker to confirm that I'm maintaining my position well. You can see that as it gets darker, the video becomes faster and faster, and as the exposure time grows, the light streaks are getting longer and longer. The landing lights of the arrival planes on final are also nicely visible, but the traffic of course meant that I had to orbit once again. It is worth noting that some lights around the airport were unexpectedly bright, to the point that they were somewhat disturbing on short final. At the end, I put 1 day and 4 night landings into the logbook in 1 hour of flying, which is probably my negative record at Charleroi. Still, it was a great training flight. With this, I wish you a nice festive season, and I hope to see you again in 2024.